I've got the New York Giants.
Okay.
And first of all due respect to Joe Shane, I just think this is a time for a clean break, and I know there's been some reporting there that hold on now, just because they kept him and got rid of Daboll doesn't mean he's going to stay in the offseason. And it's just like, come on, guys, you've been like one of the worst franchises in the NFL for a decade. This hasn't worked. There's no evidence that he's done a good job. Just find a head coach and a GM who are aligned, tied at the hip, get them in a room. When you hire them, say, if one of you gets fired, you're both getting fired. I don't want to hear about it was this guy's fault. Clarify, this guy has final say. If you're not okay with it, do not come here. This person has final say, but you're going to work together. So that from just a organizational structure, if they don't do that and keep Shane and hire a head coach, it's just like, guys, how are you making this mistake again? So that's step number one. I've been looking at all these head coach lists. Nate, about, you mentioned McCarthy, and I'm looking at them and I'm going, I would not be excited about any of these. And I was watching Eagles Commanders last week, and there was a guy on the broadcast. And, I initially thought, I bet Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, if they keep a list somewhere about just, hey, next 5 years, 10 years, whatever, let's keep a list of guys we want to look at. I bet Greg Olsen is on that list. And so so at first I had that take. I said, Greg Olsen's going to be an Eagles head coach at some point in the next 20 years. And then I thought about it and I go, the Eagles aren't looking for a head coach this offseason. What if I'm the New York Giants and I'm looking at Lou Anarumo and Clint Kubiak and Mike McCarthy, excuse me, why would I not? And I don't want to, fall into the trap of this guy says a smart thing on TV and he's going to be a great head coach. But then I was thinking about it. He does say smart things, and I think he's forward thinking with analytics, with stuff about trends, where the league's going. I don't think you can really fake that. I don't think he's a phony with that. I think he's smart about it. He's leaned into it, I feel like, a lot this year, which is good. So he's got that. He's a former player. I mean, he's going to obviously get respect. He seems like he was a well-liked teammate. The leadership aspect, just the personality, standing in front of the room, that doesn't feel like it would be a hard thing for him to do. I know his dad was a big-time high school coach in New Jersey, which I was doing my research on this morning. 30 minutes from MetLife Stadium is where he went to high school. His dad won like 8 state titles. And I'm looking at it going, why would he not be the first guy I call an interview for my head coach opening for the New York Giants? A local guy, former player, forward thinking, like you've just struck out over and over. He coaches again. Right now. Loves to coach. He coaches. He coaches kids. Maybe Luke Kuechly's your defensive coordinator. I don't know. Go
which
crazy.
I would be opposed about.
Which you wouldn't be opposed to. That actually seems kind of smart. So so that's going to be mine, Nate. We are firing Joe Shane, thanking him for his service. We are bringing in Greg Olsen. He's number one on our list for head coach. If we like him, we're hiring him. We're saying, who should we bring in for GM? You literally go and meet with all these teams every week. Who's caught your attention? Who do you hear good things about? Let's bring them in for interviews. We're going to align them with you, and we're going to take a shot on this next stage of Giants football with Greg Olsen as our head coach. What do you think?
I'm co-opting this take. This is a wonderful take, because to me, the best coaching candidate is Marcus Freeman, who is a college coach, which is a huge risk. But I think just watching him the last couple of years as a coach, I just like self-awareness. Having said that, I understand the hairline and I understand them with the bowl game and everything. Those are, I think that's not including what Freeman does as a coach. I think he's tried to be more analytical. I know just from who I talk to and everything, being smarter with fourth down decisions, stuff like that, trying to be aggressive, just trying to be on the cutting edge. And I appreciate that. I think he's very thoughtful. I think he's a great leader of men. But again, it's hard sometimes to go like, hey, guy that's never coached in the NFL, you're the NFL head coach. I have to nail assistants and everything. So that's the guy, to me, is the guy, because, I mean, I'm with you. Who else are you looking at? Joe Brady, Cliff Kingsbury, Mike McCarthy? Robert Saleh, I think, deserves a second chance. Jesse Minter, I think, is really interesting, but that's not exciting me for the Giants. I want a little bit more from what this team wants to be. Didn't you have a tweet that they've They have a worse win percentage than the Jets now.
Yeah, now I think they're right above the Jets for the last 10 years. I think if you do 5 years, they might be. But yeah, the only team that's lost more games than the Jets over the last, or the only team that's lost more games than the Giants over the last 10 years. This isn't like a 3-year thing.
Yeah.
This is a decade where they've tried and failed with one fluky Daniel Jones season in there. Other than that, like they've been a disaster. And, so maybe they opt for more stability, but they haven't been able to figure out head coach since Tom Coughlin left, like really. And it's just been a huge issue.
And your former player comment, and I know that's not the end all be all, but just even going off who they've hired recently, it's a lot of guys that maybe didn't have that experience. McAdoo, Dable, Joe Judge. And also just Olsen just seems very thoughtful. You mentioned just not just the analytics stuff and everything, but just very thoughtful to coaching. He tweets it out. There's interviews he done. He did an interview series with the new San Francisco Giants manager who came from college from Tennessee. His name's blanking on me right now. But that was, I think, really interesting, just talking about development and player development and how to get into mindset of young people or young players. And I was like, oh, that's thoughtful to me. Those are the guys I would take chances on, like thoughtfulness, the guys that reflect on like, is this right? I know like the guy I think that does it the best right now is Sean McVay, or one of the best, because he just always is self-scouting and reflecting where the league is going. And it's kind of cool to watch. I know some people get tired of us talking about it, but it's really cool. It's really cool to watch. I love this. The local connections, which the Maras would be all about. I do think they should fire Shane, and I don't know Joe Shane. I know I don't want anyone to get fired. I just think as far as franchise building, you want everybody on the same page. Otherwise you're going, because I don't know who Jackson Dart's pick was. Everybody seems to be passing the buck now. It was Dable's guy, it was Shane's guy, it was Dable. Shane's kids go to Ole Miss. That had to be part of it, like some connection there with Jackson Dart. That's the other thing too. So now we've floated on this show on Football 301. Charles and I floated, they need a new quarterback this year already. And now you're saying, hey, let's go with Greg Olsen at coach and everything. But I don't know. I think every possibility should be open to this team. And I think they should move on from GM, because I think if you limit yourself saying, no, you have to be attached to this GM and this quarterback, head coaches are just going to go, I don't know. I maybe want to just go with a different guy here. So I know. I like this one. I really like this option.
I feel like people are going to think I'm Greg Olsen's agent now, because I keep just like leaning more and more. I don't know Greg Olsen. We don't share any. I'm just looking at it going, I'm looking at some of these other coaches and I'm like, there has to be, I'm with you on Marcus Freeman. Like if you're going to take a swing, that seems like a worthy guy it might not work out, but you know what? I would rather take a swing on him and some of the other guys. And the quarterback question, Nate, I feel like this is just going to dominate the conversation like 3 weeks from now, because this is making the way into my group chats and everything. Like, what do? Do you take Mendoza and keep Dart? Do you take a Mendoza and trade Dart? Do you keep Dart and pass on Mendoza? And it's like, somebody's got to make that decision at some point, and you want to be able to trust that. You can't have Joe Shane make that decision and then like he is gone in a year. Like that would just be another massive mistake.
And then the new coach is going, oh, great. Now we got, and then they might be 6-10. They're picking, or 6-11. They're picking 9th, and now they're out of quarterback range. You're like, they have a way of doing this Giants team. That's why the Dart selection to me, and no offense to Jackson Dart and everything, I thought it was so crazy anyways. These guys are fighting for their jobs. You're moving up, and now you're attached to this guy. And it's like, oh, all right, might as well just go with Jameis, how the season went and everything. And Dart's injury stuff and the concussion stuff is worrisome to me. His play style is worrisome. He was not even operational against Flores, which it's a tough ask, but I talked about this more on Sunday. So if anyone wants to listen, but it's just the lack of growth in development has been worrisome to me, where I know he has great tools and I like the tools, but the play style's got to change. The operation from the pocket's got to change. He has to get better.